and welcome to the Help Is Here podcast, brought to you by the Beyond Compulsion Academy. Today we're going to be talking about Onlyfans culture and also a bit about the UK porn age verification sort of ban thing that's recently come out a couple of weeks ago. So Mary, welcome on the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. It is sweltering
Yeah.
here in Manchester. You said it's pretty hot in Portland as well, right?
Yeah, over it. It's going to be like 96 for the next couple of days. But then it's
Yeah.
going to get back to rain, so I'd love a little rain after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice to chat about something as mundane as the weather after today's day of doing research into
Ugh.
the porn ban and then watching that documentary. It's
Ugh.
just like the world is going insane around us.
The stuff you sent
Um,
me was just like, oh goodness. Yeah, I
yeah,
wonder when they're going to start trying to do that over here, the ban
what
stuff.
like the
Mm-hmm.
bans? I think they
Mm-hmm.
have got a few bans in a few states. I can't remember which states they were, but I'm sure when I had a look a while ago, there were certain
Oh.
bans.
Hmm.
But for anyone who doesn't really know the context of this, so in the UK now, you sort of, well, supposedly you have to be 18 to access porn. What's really happened is there's a age verification process if you want to go on a porn site. They're checking that you're 18, but there's many ways around that. I mean, in that video that I watched today, they said that by 10 a.m. on the day that
Oh.
new law came about, 10
Yeah.
hours after it's been introduced, 66,000 searches on the dark web in the
I know.
UK.
I saw that. I was just like, what did I tell you? I'm like, they're going to go dark. That's what's going to happen. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you, but yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
66,000 more searches within 10 hours is
Yeah.
mad. And that's just on the dark web, right? I mean, that's like the very, very extreme side of things, I'm guessing. I don't actually know much about the dark web, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then that doesn't even account for the people using VPNs, like accessing it privately by like changing their IP settings so that it appears like they're in a different country, which you can do. So then you can get around the age
Oh, yeah.
verification very, very easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, probably millions of people are now using VPNs. I think if you look into the data on it, like anyone who's got like shares in any VPNs is making a lot of money right now. Basically, it's a
Well,
mad
the
time.
hacker ladies took them 30 seconds to get
Yeah,
past it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's quite disempowering as well. It's kind of saying, look, you don't have a choice here. Well, at least it's trying to make it seem like you don't have a choice. Obviously, you can get around them very easily. But yeah, I mean, it's just flawed in so many ways. And I think the biggest way in which it is flawed is how there's so much sexual content on social media nowadays. And when I was trying to stop watching porn, I spent about 2 or 3 years just exclusively seeking sexual content on social media. So Instagram, X, or Twitter as it was called then, YouTube, a lot of sexual content on there, even like Facebook. And what's happened since I stopped watching porn about, I don't know how long ago it was, but whenever that was, there's just been more and more sort of like talk about OnlyFans and more people going on these social media sites, and then that's rippled down where because these OnlyFans women have seen the opportunity to make more money and it's almost become more normalized, a lot of people have hopped onto that bandwagon and now they're sort of trying to get more men in via social media. So now loads of social media accounts are very, very sexual. And then because it's not classified as like porn and it's not a porn site, obviously under 18s can access this content. And I don't think at the minute there's much verification around that. So that's where I think a lot of people will go. And then looking into it all today, I was watching that Bonnie Blue documentary and that just kind of summed up the state of where we are at as a society. And the amount of porn in that documentary as well, which was a Channel 4 documentary, which is like one of our main, TV channels here in the UK, was just absurd. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, the stuff in that documentary was probably more sort of extreme than the stuff I used to watch when I was deep in a porn addiction, and that's on like TV. That is just, it's so out of hands. And I sent you a few clips of it just to kind of
That's
show
what
like what's going
those
on.
shorts were from that documentary.
what I was sending you, so I was watching a
Yeah.
documentary and I was just taking a video on my phone and sending it over to you, of the
Wow.
documentary, just little
On
bits that I thought
regular
were
network
interesting.
television? Wow,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That's
That's not even
crazy.
a porn site. That's not even social media. That's on regular television. Like I had a phone call with my dad a few hours ago, and I was asking him like, Dad, have you heard about this like Bonnie Blue woman? And straight away he was like, Yeah, like I've watched the documentary. Like so many people in this country, like millions of people, would probably have watched that documentary. And I actually came
Yeah.
across it all by just being on LinkedIn again. People talking about it. A lot of therapists and counselors that I'm connected to talking about it and the harm of it. And there's quite a lot of backlash as well. So some people who were sponsoring Channel 4 who had like adverts, they actually pulled out of their deals as well because they were like, I don't want to be connected to all this nonsense,
Wow.
which is
Well, that's
good.
good, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
At least
big respect
someone's
to those
putting their foot
companies.
down a little bit, right?
100%.
Yeah,
Because
just
I
go
just,
home,
yeah,
turn on the porn, and crack a beer because
yeah,
you deserve it. That's exactly what that short said.
that's the woman
Yeah.
who's the OnlyFans creator. That's what she said. So yeah, I
Well,
mean,
of course, right?
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
And that was in response to like people feeling guilt and shame around having sex with her because what she did is she did a challenge where she went and tried to have sex with like over 1,000 people in I think I don't know 24 hours or something mental. And then she's making a lot of money from it. And I want to ask you like, what do you think leads a person to that extreme, like the extreme that these OnlyFans creators are going to right now?
money. What else?
Well,
Money.
yeah,
It's not obviously it's not about sex because they're not really having sex, you know. Unless there's some kind of control thing. I don't know, but I don't see any motivation other than money.
yeah,
Money's
yeah,
a big
exactly,
motivator for a lot of people, you know.
100%.
So,
But
well, and the thing is
yeah.
they can do this and they're not in any kind of danger because they're basically hookers. You know, OnlyFans women are hookers, but they don't have to go out on the street and they're not in danger of, getting killed or something, by some guy they pick up to make money, making a shit ton of money, but they're hookers, you know?
Mm.
So whatever, money, I don't see any other motivation. Do you?
I think it starts out with money for sure, and then what happens is they develop compulsive desire to do more extreme things for a combination of followers and then more money.
Well, they
100%.
probably get more money for more extreme content too.
Yeah,
More
exactly.
extreme thing they do. Well, it's just like the hookers, it's like, oh, you know, $50 for a hand job, It's like the same thing, and then they get more extreme with these guys on the street, and it's gonna cost them more money.
Yeah.
Wow. But
But
what has the world come to, Tom? I'm just really kind of blown away.
so like obviously you're a little bit older than me, like you're in your 60s, right?
Little
So
bit.
you've been around a little while. You've seen things, you've seen the world change. What's your like take on it, just kind of from your perspective of seeing the world change over the last 40, 50 years, especially in relation to maybe like sex and feminism? Like what's your take on it or what's going on right now?
Well, I don't know about feminism and all that. That's just a ridiculous excuse to use to justify what they're doing. I have to tell you, when you sent me that stuff this morning, I was like legitimately sad. I felt sad and I felt hopeless. But then you put in the comment that, the guys need us, right? Because you were saying that they were kind of blaming it on the guys. I didn't really catch where you were referencing that. Um,
So one of the guys who helps the main OnlyFans creator create her content and is like part of her team, and he's like producing the content for her and helping her out. He was basically saying like, look, it's simple. If you don't want to watch it, then like stop wanking to it. And he just kind of
oh, right.
downplayed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Easier said than done when you're in a porn addiction from the age of 10 years old. Just stop. Oh, yeah. Easier said than done. Yeah. Now I remember which of the shorts that was. Yeah. Just stop. Well, he's also motivated. to keep making content for them, for her, for whatever, because he's making money as well, you know? It's just a money maker. And the other thing that's gonna be a money maker is with this ban, is like there's gonna be people that are so motivated to try to get the content to the under 18, guys, that there's gonna be a lot of money to be made right there as well, different ways. And they said it in the documentary, or that short, the 7-minute film you sent me, that there's going to be people are now already trying to create things that they can sell to you to get around the ban. So it's
Mm.
just going to be, it's just like drugs, it's like drug pushers, it's like drugs are illegal. It's like someone's going to be motivated to get them to you. So, and the thing is too, is the whole ban. I mean, you didn't start out in your porn addiction in hardcore content on the, that you had access to actual porn sites. You're starting out in Instagram.
Yeah.
Every single teenage kid younger than that, they're all on Instagram. That's the thing, it's Instagram, so it's not gonna, so they're gonna develop the addictions, and they're gonna build a tolerance. And then they're going to want more and more extreme content. They're not going to be able to get to it easily, so as easily. And so then they're going to go dark web. And I mean, that to me is just setting kids up for even more potential harm, not just the addiction, but it's all the wrong approach. I mean, okay. I mean, maybe the ban, I mean, okay, fine, whatever. There's something there, but and we'll see with time, we'll see how that plays out, but I don't it certainly is not going to solve the problem, you
Yeah.
know. No.
Absolutely.
It's
And
like you're
yeah,
going to you're going to keep heroin addicts from getting a heroin. No, you're not, It's like they're going to get it. They're going to find a way, So, yeah.
yeah, I'd say it's actually quite different as well in that it's becoming more and more normalized and sort of part of culture. Like sexual content is becoming, yeah, just really in a strange way part of culture. In
Yeah.
almost a very different way, I'd say to drugs, because I think as a society we still kind of, I mean, it's not necessarily a good thing, but we do kind of have this moral overall judgment towards drugs and those who are drug addicts, right? Whereas, and we definitely have a moral judgment of people who are like porn addicts as such. But what we also have is this culture where you have people on the streets nowadays selling bucket hats with the logo Onlyfans or Pornhub on it. And that's what I saw, 2 weeks
Wow.
ago, walking down the street in Manchester, is like it's almost become this kind of comedic part of culture. And then you have people like, Bonnie Blue, this porn star, this OnlyFans creator, as you would call, this hooker. She's now on a Channel 4 documentary all
She's
about
a
her and her
hooker.
life. Yeah, exactly. And then she's doing a podcast with, other famous people like Andrew Tate, and it's just so part of culture. It's like porn. And yesterday in my group chat, I've got a group chat, 10 lads from school, we all grew up together. And back then, we would talk about porn more and probably make jokes, and we were very immature, of course. But even in that group chat yesterday, one of the guys in there who probably doesn't really know so much about the work I'm doing, etc., but he was talking about gooning and edging in a kind of a funny way. He's kind of making light of gooning and edging. I can't remember the exact context, but when I saw him write those two words, I was pretty shocked. I was like, shit, because it had nothing to do with me. I wasn't even part of that conversation. But these kind of words are now becoming part of these subcultures online and in the comment section of videos. And it wasn't even about porn, what we were talking about on the group chat yesterday. It had nothing to do
Yeah.
with it. But he's still using this kind of language, which is actually part of addiction, but now it's being normalized across social media. And it's just getting sicker and sicker online, I
Can
think.
you
Yeah.
can you define gooning? I know what edging is. I only know that because I know you, but I forget gooning again.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So gooning. So I actually watched a YouTube video about this week, and on the YouTube video, it starts off with this guy who had his penis out, going to this like takeaway store where like you'd order food, through like a window, and the waitresses in this takeout place would like be half naked and whatever. So this guy goes through the drive-through and he wants to get some food or whatever, and he's got his penis out, and then the woman, I think she's like she's taking a video of him as he's like driving through, and then it went online, he got exposed, everyone found out about it. Turns out he had a family and kids, and then he ended up ending his life. So, we kind of know from that he was deep in a very bad porn addiction. And then what he posted when he ended his life was goonicide. So, he'd gone down this
Wow.
this culture, these rabbit holes, and got into some kind of gooner kind of culture. There's a thing called goon caves. Well, there was apparently in the past, and people would share and kind of make jokes and memes and talk about the experience of gooning. So essentially, what it is you're masturbating to the point of climax, but then you're kind of trying to prolong that period where you're just about to climax, where maybe your brain feels particularly foggy, almost like when you're in that complete depth of brain fog and confusion and anxiety, and apparently it's like this feeling of utter bliss, like being on heroin when you're in that state where you've watched so much porn without orgasming, and you're kind of just in that state, where maybe you've gone into the depths and you've been looking at more and more sexual content, and you're probably looking at stuff that's completely really messed up at that point as well. But
Similar
that's
to
what
edging,
gooning is.
though, right?
Similar to edging, I think.
Edging
Yeah,
takes you to the edge, right? And then
yeah.
you go, yeah, okay.
So I guess
Wow.
it's the
At the
yeah.
drive-through, was the drive-through person filming him or someone in his car?
I think it was like the waitress at the drive-through place, like
Wow.
filmed him and then shared that on social media, and then he got exposed and found out,
Okay,
and
wow.
then he ended his life over it. Yeah,
Yeah, well, I saw on the one of the in that the 7-minute clip that you sent me that the woman was talking about her 14-year-old boy who ended his life as well. He's in the porn addiction, you know. God, so sad, really.
yeah.
Sadness.
I think
Yeah.
it's a good time to mention that we've got a free resource on our website. I'll leave a link below, but it's really worth giving that a thorough read. If you go to
Yeah.
beyondcompulsionacademy.com/remember letters. I think it's remember letters. If it's not, just try remember letter.
Might be
What
the reality of porn addiction. Might be the PDF is, I think, the title of the publication that we made.
the PDF's
Yeah.
called The Reality
It's
of Porn Addiction, yeah, but
it's
the URL,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, the URL's www.beyondcompulsionacademy/remember letters, I think, or remember letter. But yeah, what are you going to say there, Mary?
Well, it's just interesting that you bring that up because I feel like all this external stuff, doing these bans and everything, everyone talking about it and whatever, how you're going to stop these guys. I think that our publication, the reality of porn addiction of 30 remember letters from our guys who have lived this, that I don't think there would be anything as effective in teaching these boys, that you can do this. Obviously, you can get around it. You can go on the dark web. You can do whatever, you can hack and get in there, buy a $700 mask, which didn't work
Yeah,
anyway, to make you look like you're an adult, right? You're going to get to porn, you're going to Instagram, whatever. But knowing that if that's the choice you make to start to enter that addictive behavior, right? That you're going to hear from 30 guys, real life guys going, hey, this was my life. You said like 14 years or something, of in it, trying to stop suffering, and letters from them to them going, hey, remember this. It's one of our most powerful tools that helps them get through withdrawal and get to the other side. But I just really think that anybody could go and download this, and you think, oh, I don't want to share this with my kid because he'll know about this stuff or whatever. No, you want them to know about this stuff. You want them to know the real life suffering of men that have made the choice to go, oh, I'm going to go a little further in Instagram, into Twit. Let's just call it Twit, okay? And it's yeah, it's a really powerful resource, and I think that if we can get it into the hands of more people, really shed light on this from that perspective, not just
Mm,
from how are we gonna stop them? We're not gonna stop them, you
yeah,
know? It's
exactly. And
it's
I
tough.
think that just kind of brings in a massive point about the way in which we help clients, which is all about saying like, look, this is a choice, and helping someone think through that choice in the moment that they have the urge,
Yeah,
knowing that there's nothing wrong with them for having that urge, and make a rational choice in that moment that actually they can be really proud of. Because what we would never ever do is say to someone like, look, you can't watch porn, or just highlight the consequences. Because sure, the remember letter is full of consequences, and you kind of reminisce on the things you've done, maybe the things you've seen, and the ways you've felt, and the way in which that's maybe impacted your relationships, your confidence, every
yeah,
area of your life, really. And you really go in and you write that remember letter, and it's a very powerful part of the program. And we've got all these remember letters to share with people, which you can go and access if you'd like to. But the other side of it as well is like, this is what life can be
yeah,
when you're not in a porn addiction, which I
yeah.
think is a massive part as well, because it's not just about looking at the consequences, but also seeing that you can have all the things that you probably want in life without watching porn. It's like, what's porn giving people, But it's so part of our culture and so normalized that people are thinking, oh, I'm going to be missing out if I'm not watching porn like all my friends at school.
Normalized and glamorized.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
really very much glamorized at every turn, you know? It's just like, oh, this is like, notches in your belt and whatever, it's just like, yeah, it's overly sexualized and yeah, it's not ideal. So yeah.
100%. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think social media and the way things are going is things are just becoming more and more over sexualized because people are competing more and more. And like, when you really get down to the nitty gritty, you're right, it comes down to money. Like, that is why
Yeah.
Channel 4 would have created that documentary. They don't
And
actually care about consumers.
the other thing, other than money, I think is people want to justify their behaviors because they're in these addictive behaviors and they don't know how to stop. They're obviously having negative consequences, but they don't want to admit that, because that doesn't validate, that, oh, I'm doing this thing, that I know is, most people morally know it's not good and just how it negatively affects their life. They know it's not good. But if I normalize it and I glamorize it and everybody's doing it, then they can at least have a little bit of reprieve from feeling like shit about themselves, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think there's motivation there as well in that regard, If everyone's doing it, then it's okay if I do it, and but I really think that can be sort of a fleeting, positive feeling about it, I think it's mostly obviously with the remember letters written by our guys. I mean, it's obviously not a positive situation.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely. Where do you think things are gonna sort of go from here? Do you think things are gonna get worse with the UK porn ban being introduced?
Well, I think so, don't you? I mean, it's like because just the overall my fear, okay, we know it's upsetting for me to even think about. We know how powerful feelings of deprivation can be, right? So now you got these young guys. I mean, this gets me because I had, a son, right? So to think that these 10, 11, 12-year-old guys are used to getting to this extreme stuff, right? And now in certain situations, they can't the way that they could before, right? And then comes the feelings of deprivation. I think we're going to be looking at more young boys committing suicide. That's what I think is going to happen. But I don't even want to speak that into existence, if that's even a thing, So
Mm,
sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
The society's off the rails, So, I mean, thank God we are doing what we're doing, persisting to get, some sort of rational message out there, So, yeah, that's yeah, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better,
Mm, mm, I
especially
hear you.
this angle we're taking, But
Yeah.
I just think of these young boys. It's like I said, like in our school community, I posted a photograph. I was up at the lake where I like to paddle, and there's these boys. They're like, 10, 11, 12-year-old boys, and they're just having a blast on this rope swing, and they're just that innocence. That was just, I took pictures of them and then posted it to school because, they're like right on the cusp. They're going to be in that porn addiction so quick, so soon. And it was like heartbreaking to me. So, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. But it's not going to be through blockers or bans. That's not
yeah.
what's going to stop them. Yeah.
Do you want to just briefly share why blockers and bans are ineffective because of feelings of deprivation and how those feelings of deprivation keep people trapped for so many years?
Well, see, that's the idea, is that they're going to keep them from getting to it. But that's just really not possible. But if they feel that way, then they have, it creates all the feelings of deprivation, which are very, very intense, a long, long list of negative feelings, which makes them just feel more and more desperation to get to the thing that they want, which in this situation is the porn. So, they could do very extreme things to make that happen.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose, I mean, because if they have, total access to it all the time, well, I guess that's a little better than trying to take this thing away from them that they're addicted to, and then what extreme measures are they going to take to get their hands on it, right?
Yeah.
It's, I mean, if you think about, take a heroin addict in withdrawal, they're going to go, and they got no money, right? They're going to go rob somebody. It's just a lose-lose situation. So,
Yeah. Can I
yeah.
just share here as well how so we work with guys who are trying to overcome porn addiction, right? And you will know, Mary, from your experience, that so many of the people we work with, they aren't watching porn multiple times a day. Like the average person we work with, some are, sure. Some people come to us and they're in that position at the start. But most people, it's more of a case of maybe once every few days, weeks, or even months, right? And some guys, it's been years.
Yeah,
Now,
controlling it.
controlling it, exactly. Controlling, managing, intermittent reinforcement, streaks, ups
Yeah.
and downs, instability, lack of groundedness, etc. So during those streaks, what's going on is a lot of these guys, they're unintentionally feeling deprived and they're feeling pretty horrible because there's this thing they really want to do and they feel like they can't do it. And so because of that, they're feeling irritable, they're feeling frustrated, they're feeling angst. And then eventually, it's only a matter of days, weeks, or months, then they go ahead, choose to engage, they're back in the addiction,
Yeah.
like in the very height of it anyway. And then it's just round and round and round. So I think if you want to get something across from this podcast, if you're listening to this, just know that that cycle of ups and downs is gonna be very, very bad for a lot of people, and it is possible to get out of that cycle. But it starts with changing the way you think about things and understanding that you
Yeah.
do have a choice, and that is so so critical. But for these under 18s, now a lot of them, they already have addictive neural pathways. Their brain's going to be wired, so they're going to have this desire, they're going to have this craving, and then they're going to be feeling incredibly frustrated and irritated and angst because now they're told, okay, now you can't watch porn. So now they feel, oh shit, there's this thing I want to do, I
Yeah.
can't do it. Then they're going to go to these extremes, 66,000 increased searches on the dark web, 10 hours
Yeah.
after it being launched, this new rule. So that's kind of how deprivation works for anyone who
Yeah.
just wants a bit more of an understanding
Yeah.
of that.
That was a better explanation. Um, and I don't want to seem like lose-lose, doom and gloom or whatever, because the thing is these boys that are getting addicted young, they there is help. Help is here. Obviously, our podcast, right? Our school community help is here. And when they're that young, the sooner that they can get this help, their neural pathways are it's, I don't want to say easier to change, but it's like learning a second language when you're a kid versus an adult. It's like you can change those pathways. So and as much as we can do to get them, aware of what they're stepping into when they make that choice, um and then also too, I mean, just teaching them, just the fact that you have a choice. You can do this. This is what the consequences will be, but then they're not going to have that additional drive of, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't have what I want, and go crazy and, do it and whatever. It's there. Yeah, there's hope, it's a
Yeah.
glimmer. It's a glimmer of hope, but it's there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, hopefully with the guys in the program, like our plan is basically to train more and more people up to get to a position where they can go online and talk about this and be very vocal about how they
yeah,
once struggled. They were in the addiction, they were
yeah,
in the constant conflict, and now they're out of it for good. And we've already got guys, inside our program who have taken to YouTube and they're spreading the Beyond Compulsion method. And
yeah,
as the years pass on by, what I would love to do is help more people go and do that and kind of try and set an alternative role model as someone who's very happy, enjoys their life, maybe has more of a simple life and they're not chasing millions of pounds and millions of followers, but they're
yeah,
content and they've got peace of mind and they're setting a good example to younger people. Because I think that's the other thing is there isn't really like growing up for me, there was very few people who would talk about the harm of porn from like a good place and who I'd look up to and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to choose to stop watching porn because that person there stopped watching porn and they seem like a great role model. Instead, it was just these big gym lads doing no fap streaks and talking about it on
yeah,
YouTube, but they never really aligned with me. Like, and their methods were stupid. Like, they were just into self improvement and driving
yeah.
Porsches and shit like that. And that's not the lifestyle I
Just
really
more
wanted.
compulsion.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing more like revealing it. You're in some sort of compulsion, then you're like completely pumped up, gym rat. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, yeah, there's benefits to going to the gym and having exercise, if you want to get healthy bones and muscles and that mental clarity that you can get from, engaging the vascular system, getting your heart rate up and all that stuff. That's all really good. But most of the guys out there, they're going to the gym to try to outrun the porn addiction. I have told you about the one guy who said, when he finally joined our program, he said he went to the gym. He was wanting to use porn, went to the gym, got on the treadmill, turned it on, and he said, "Fuck this," turned it off. He like literally was on 30 seconds on the treadmill. He just knew, and I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna go home and use porn. So yeah, trying to use those other, try to distract yourself, workout, whatever. And the other thing I was thinking when you just mentioned the followers, that could be partially that motivation too of the OnlyFans girls is like, oh, how many followers do I get? People are like addicted to that, followers and likes
yeah.
and all this validation from the outside world.
And like, that was the
How
thing
many
that
likes
really.
do you have? How many followers? It's such a thing. How many followers you have?
Yeah, yeah. No, that was the thing that really stood out to me from the documentary I watched, which is that I think a lot of these OnlyFans creators, especially if they're doing crazy stunts and these extreme kind of things, they're 100% in an addiction. They're just on the other side of it. Like they are just as much, experiencing compulsive desires, telling themselves the storyline. I have to create more. I have to make more money. I have to, you know, do something more extreme next. Otherwise, I'm not going to have the most followers. So then they're all just in this big, massive competition amongst themselves of telling themselves these irrational storylines and beliefs that I need to do
Yeah.
more and more and more and more and more, which to me is addiction, is wanting to do something and not knowing how to stop yourself from doing it. And you just keep on wanting to do it despite extremely adverse negative consequences.
Yeah.
This woman in the documentary, she said she hasn't been out of the house on her own like in public for 6 months. Like,
Wow.
what the hell? So she's paying some consequences, that's for sure, because she's not safe in public anymore. She's kind of hated by most of the country because that does bring me some hope. Like, I think overall as a society, we still look at this extreme stuff and go, yeah, that's wrong. We still do have
Good.
this moral judgment, this compass that guides us, I think. And I think some of that can be unhealthy because I think judgment is not always healthy. I think it'd be better to go, okay, this woman's probably in an addiction. It'd be good to maybe enable her to
Well,
change her values. But
people
yeah, go ahead.
wouldn't hesitate for a minute to judge, a heroin addict, to judge an alcoholic, to judge, people judge addictions all the time, but I mean, well, you can't judge food addiction because then you're discriminating, right? Because that's with all the inclusion stuff, somehow obesity's become a body type or whatever, so we can't judge that. But um, people don't people don't talk about porn enough really to judge it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not. But you would never hesitate, to judge. Like, say you wanted to hire someone for your business. If somebody came in reeking of alcohol, there would be no problem at all judging them, you know. But if someone had a porn addiction, I mean, you wouldn't know it for starters. But it's just, yeah, it's it's not. I don't feel like it's judgmental. If you're going to judge other addictions, yeah, judging porn, I don't know. It's 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 not good to be in an addiction. Not good to hire somebody who's in an addiction, but it's a very misunderstood thing with porn and with food, It's like now you'd be encouraged to hire somebody who was obese, rather than go, "Oh, they have an addiction, so might not be a good idea to hire this person." So I would say if you're, talking down about OnlyFans or this woman's afraid to go in the streets or whatever, that's not you're not being judgmental, you're pointing out something that's realistically not good overall for society.
I think the thing is as well is like it's actually important to have some judgments. Like I think some of the kind of wellness crew are like, oh no, zero judgment of anything at all. And I kind of get that. I see the
That's where
spirit.
we're at.
Yeah, I see the spiritualistic side of it, and maybe people are going to say that. But at the same time, if we literally had no judgment of stuff, then society would be even worse.
The hell, yeah. Okay, literally. Well,
So
that's kind of where we're at. You can't say anything about anything, or you're judging or you're discriminating or you're whatever. You can't say shit about shit now. It's like, yeah, it's really gotten very extreme. So, yep, you be you. Do whatever
yeah.
you want. It's
My
it's a
final
thing.
thought was, I think the only way to really solve this problem is going to be to shift people's values. I honestly think that's the most underlying problem. I think people value money too much, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how this whole OnlyFans thing has happened. Because this woman, she has millions of pounds now,
Yeah.
but she's going to keep on trying to make more and more money. But for what purpose and why? Like, what is that money actually going to bring her? And if you look at
Yeah.
her values will almost certainly be I want to compete, I want to make more money, and maybe I care about my family, and that would be it. But like she doesn't see the value in other values essentially, which I and the guys listening will. Things like maybe self-respect, truth, honesty,
Yeah.
just being a good person and like having a positive impact on the world and the people around
Yeah.
you. She won't see value in that because if she did, she wouldn't be doing the things she's doing because it's
Well,
undoubtedly having a negative impact. Undoubtedly.
there's the seeing how the addictions like feed each other, right? There was that documentary of that little blonde lady, super rich OnlyFans, um, uh, down in Florida, right? And then she had like her big black boyfriend is like 5 times her size, right? Big dude, right? Well, she killed him. It's like there's some kind of fucked up, a compulsive rage thing or whatever. Like she threw a knife across the room and like hit the wrong thing, and dude's dead. It's like there's obviously she's not like some peaceful, morally, kind her person that's this OnlyFans person making all this money. She's got these addictions and she literally goes off the deep end and throws a knife and stabs her boyfriend and he dies right there. There's obviously more
Mm.
going on there that's not, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the porn stars, that having their life expectancy in the mid 30s. There's obviously more going on there. That's not. not good, morally good stuff, So
Yeah, yeah.
it's not really a judgment. It's more of a reality.
I think for some of them, like, they genuinely might be really, really happy right now because things are going kind of well for them, at least from their
Yeah.
perspective of what going well is. Because if like your value system is like, okay, all I want to do is make a lot of money and get famous, and you're making literally like £1 million a month and getting increasingly famous, where you've
Yeah.
got like Channel 4 doing a documentary on you, if you're at that level and that's your value, then obviously you're going to feel like pretty amazing because that's your thought pattern. So, people online
For a
may say,
minute.
oh, yeah, for now, like, so people online may say, "Oh, well, this woman, she must have suffered really bad trauma. She must have been gone through something. She must have something wrong with her." But I would actually argue against that. I would actually say, you know what? She genuinely might be happy right now. Like, that is the truth. But
Yeah.
if she ever gets into learning more, maybe she gets into philosophy one day. I mean, it's very unlikely, but let's just say hypothetically she did. Um, and she discovers more and she gets more educated. I
Starts
can
reading
almost,
Marcus Aurelius.
yeah, I doubt she'll be reading
No,
meditations to be
I don't
straight,
think
but
so.
but if she did, I feel like she would get to a position where she'd almost certainly look back on herself and go, "Shit, I have fucked up here big
Well,
time."
the other thing is the tolerance cycle. It's like, okay, now I did the OnlyFans and I'm the popular, and I'm making the bajillions and I got the yacht, I got the everything. Well, now I want more, 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 more. I got to get out this compulsion out somewhere. So now I'm gonna, lose my shit and stab my boyfriend. It's like, because you're in this compulsive fight with them that you can't, because they had like fight after fight after fight. There was like all kinds of like the domestic violence police were coming on a regular basis before the knife hit the right vein.
Mm,
So, but yeah, that tolerance cycle, yeah, you get all that. And then it's not like you get all that and now you're like, okay, cool. Now I'm just going to kick back and, no, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
The other thing I would say though is, although we may have judged this OnlyFans creator, I think she wouldn't be doing what she's doing if there wasn't the demand for it, and that is
right.
such a massive thing. Like, at the end of the day, she's making millions because there's men out there who are paying
Well,
money to watch this stuff.
yeah, but also the demand is being created by preying on young boys. They're vulnerable. Oh my God, young boys getting their first hard-ons, whatever. Who's more vulnerable than that? They're literally obsessed. They're like, "What's this?" And oh my God, and then it's like, so you're creating a demand.
Mm.
Start them young, get them hooked young, and there's your demand.
Yeah, so would
Yeah,
you see it more like a drug dealer sort of preying on young people who are maybe new to something?
100%,
Yeah, yeah.
100%. It's like the big tobacco people. They go into the clubs. I remember, well, last time I was in a club, a long, long, long time ago, but they had these really cute young girls with and everyone in there's like 20, they're whatever, or 21, I guess, go in the club, right? 21, and then they have like these cute girls with these like trays of like two cigarettes, right? And they're giving them away. So here's these young people, give them two cigarettes, which is about what it takes to get addicted to nicotine. So, it's, yeah, they know what they're doing,
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
talk about immoral. Jesus.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, the cigarette companies, yeah, the nicotine companies, that's like a well orchestrated plan to get people addicted to make money. Whereas I wouldn't say this woman knows that she is getting people addicted. I think that's part of the problem. I think she's just there, one zone, just her mind's just fully on, okay, I want to make as much money as possible. I've tried something else out. That's made me 800,000. So this month I want to make 1 million. That means I'm going to have to do something more extreme. And that's where her head's at. But she
Yeah.
isn't considering the wider implications, and very few people are. And throughout that whole documentary, 59 minutes, not once did anyone mention porn addiction.
Wow. So I want to see this documentary. That isn't part of what you sent me today.
That is that. So what I was sending you today was just like clips from the
I
documentary.
know, but then there was one with a link with 7 minutes. That one I
Oh, that was a
watched.
separate one. Yeah, yeah. There's
Okay, I'll go look again and watch, yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was good.
Yeah, I'm sure that she's not, like, intentionally going, "I'm gonna be OnlyFans going to get the 10-year-olds." But she's getting them.
Mm.
If she's on in where do they do OnlyFans? Instagram? Well, you saw one on LinkedIn, for God's sake.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Is like it's
Yeah.
everywhere. So their marketing strategy is post as much free content as possible on the places like maybe LinkedIn, I don't know, but definitely they're on LinkedIn, as I discovered this week, which was insane. But yeah, definitely posting a lot on TikTok, Instagram. Apparently, actually, she said in this documentary that she posted on average like 200 times a day on TikTok, and then what she'd do is create like 20 to 30 accounts on Instagram because she'd constantly get banned over and over. So then
Oh,
she'd
God.
post her things across these platforms like 20 to 30 times. But yeah, she had no sort of,
They ban OnlyFans on Instagram?
well, I don't think they do often, but I think what was going on is sometimes she was probably posting some stuff which wasn't, meeting their user guidelines or whatnot.
Got
So
it.
she had like all these different accounts and would
Too
post across all
extreme,
of them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Huh,
yeah,
wow. Well, the
yeah.
thing is too, is once they get into the OnlyFans account, then they're kind of privately with the woman, right? It's
Yeah.
not just right there on Instagram, right? You get in and
So, I mean, I don't know. I've never actually like been on OnlyFans, but my
yeah,
guess is what happens is like Instagram's like your kind of marketing tool to get
yeah,
people into the OnlyFans. And then when you get
yeah.
into OnlyFans, then you get to see the actual sex and the
Yeah, and
more
then
extreme stuff.
no one then like Instagram isn't seeing that stuff to ban. Once you get in there, once you get in, you're connected directly to the woman.
Yeah, because it's a
Yeah.
different platform then. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
exactly. So it's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
It's
It's
crazy.
really messed up.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
think this is another thing for us to consider with our clients of the big question of like, should I be on social media or not? Or as always, it's always going to be up to you. But I think now more than
Yeah.
ever, we can kind of raise that awareness of social media is slowly becoming very similar to a porn site because of
Yeah.
how the OnlyFans is trickling down in this really fucked up way. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of sexual content on there, which is pretty
I'm just
crazy.
I'm starting to lean more and more toward people should just get off of it. It's just get back to like living, engaging with people, doing things, off your screen, right?
Yeah, yeah. On that note, we should probably wrap it up here because I've actually got a
Yeah.
football game in about
I was
half
gonna
an
say
hour.
you gotta go play football, don't you? I thought
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said you had football. We were gonna have to go 45 minutes ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And thank you for waking up early to do the
Of
podcast today.
course.
I
I'm getting
appreciate
used to it, boss.
it. Love it. Thank you, mate. Thank you. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Cheers to anyone listening. If you want to learn if you are in a porn addiction right now, then you can go and take the porn addiction quiz, get a score out of 100. We'll leave a link in the description. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
See ya.